The world you know is shrinking fast, yet the space above, the infinite black ocean, that vast frontier, is still untouched by borders, rules, and old world nonsense. But something is changing, fast. The rise of space tourism isn't just a new way to fill billions in pockets. It's a seismic shock, a dramatic twist that could rip apart the tired old map of globalization and build something wild and unimagined in its place. Today, frustration is thick in the air, frustration with slow, outdated systems, frustration with the tired promises of freedom that never deliver, frustration with borders that cage ideas and choke progress. Every founder, every investor, every leader stuck in the grinding monotony of earthbound realities feels it. The weight of rules that make you less, not more. The maddening sameness that tries to drown your hunger for change. You're furious, and rightfully so, because while the status quo wants you boxed in, what if the answer isn't to fight harder within the old cages, but to break through to a new frontier altogether? Look up. To the black sky where rockets roar and new gateways open. Space tourism is poised to explode, not as a luxury playground, but as a catalyst tearing down the old frameworks. This isn't about vacations above the clouds. It's about transcending the tired logic of the world. It's about opening the most radical, brutal, beautiful dimension of globalization, the kind that doesn't just connect continents, but shreds the very idea of borders and limitations. The same frustrations you deal with, fragmented markets, stagnating innovation, hollow promises of equality, space tourism offers a solution no one else is talking about. And it starts with a brutal truth. If you want to lead the next wave, you cannot think small. You cannot cling to old loyalties or outdated geography. You must think global, cosmic even, and ride the tidal wave that's coming with the commercialization of space. These new orbits are not some science fiction utopia. They are the raw, unfiltered reality of how the future will be shaped. And if you ignore this now, you will be left behind, swallowed by another cycle of mediocrity and failed potential. But here's what nobody tells you. Getting in on space tourism isn't about throwing money at rocket ships and hoping for a return. It's about rewiring the very way you play the game. The key isn't to simply jump on space-themed bandwagons, it's to master the new language of post-tribal cosmopolitanism, where your value is not defined by your zip code or passport, but by your ability to collaborate across astounding new frontiers, cultural, technological, physical. This means building networks that operate beyond the traditional rules, connecting founders and investors who see beyond Earth's tiny borders to the vast shared future. You don't just join a market, you become part of a force that disassembles the old order. You create synergy that transcends identity and status, powered by dynamic meritocracy and absolute freedom. This is the future's most brutal, honest market, where survival depends on ability, agility, and audacity, not legacy or birthright. What exactly do you do? Start by wiping clean your assumptions. The world's old systems try to process you, to fit you neatly into predictable boxes. Space tourism demands breaking those boxes by creating value where none existed before. Invest not just in end-user flights, but in the infrastructure of connection. Spaceports that become hubs of transformation, technologies that democratize access to orbit, and ventures that render nationality irrelevant. Build partnerships that are intentionally diverse, not just in culture, but in mindset and ambition. Seek out the few radical players with the courage to reshape limits and link them to your own vision. Create networks where transparency, trust, and continuous re-earning of value are non-negotiable. Develop products and ideas so disruptive they force global industries to rethink entire supply chains and customer experiences from zero. This is how to profit by making the impossible visible and making it real for the first time. The frustration you feel with the fractured, slow-moving global economy? This is your fuel. Use it. Turn it into the fire that drives relentless experimentation with strategic globalization. Do not dilute yourself by chasing every shiny opportunity. Instead, laser focus on ventures that leverage space tourism to tear down borders, not just physically, but socially and economically. Help build a future where capital flows not to the safe and expected, but to the transformative, supporting ventures that open up new markets among space travelers, microgravity manufacturing, and interplanetary commerce. Push for cross-border regulatory alliances that start with space and spill back into Earth's economy, untangling the legal and political knots that now strangle global collaboration. The war is not just in orbit. It's on paper, in minds, in the stubborn will of humanity to stay stuck. That's where your fight begins. But remember, the most brutal truth is this. This revolution is not for the timid or the comfortable. It is not for those who cling to nostalgia or demand permission to dream big. It is for those hungry souls who sense that the future is a wild, raw frontier, waiting to be conquered and remade, not by armies or politicians, but by a collective of self-directed individuals who refuse to accept limits others worship. These few hold the keys to a new world order, woven not by flags or loyalties, but by sheer obsessive will to transcend mortality, geography, and outdated power games. Space tourism is the first crack in the foundation of the old world's illusions. It offers a new stage to ignite the becoming of humanity's next evolution, where individuals rise as architects of a truly global, borderless, and radically free society. So don't just watch rockets launch, become the force behind them. Create links where none exist. Hunt down overlooked technology startups turning space travel into everyday infrastructure. Connect investors who dare to value risk differently. Build communities around shared missions that break free from the chains of the past. Calculate not by quarterly returns, but by the scale of disruption you unleash. Think in terms not of countries, but orbits. Not markets, but constellations. The moment to act is now, brutal and relentless. The next chapter of globalization won't be written on Earth. It will be carved into the stars. The question isn't if space tourism will change the world, it's whether you are ready to lead the change that can't be stopped. Success won't wait for permission, it will demand obsession and unyielding action. Then, and only then, will you break the chains and realize the true power of connection beyond borders. This is no longer a dream. It's the new battlefield of freedom. Engage it fiercely, or be left behind in the dust of yesterday's illusions.